Hey everybody, Greg Rice from Nexus Property Management. Not in the bucket today. I'm at the home studio. It's a Friday night and there's no place and nothing else I would rather do than talk to you about lead. Okay? And a lead grant that may or may not be available in Woonsocket, I still don't know. And the reason why I'm making this video is because I don't know. And it's been a little bit over a month now, and I've received different types of information from people in different positions. So I want to share with you the road that I've been on, the information I've been given, and the people that have given me that information. I believe that transparency is the key to growth and the key to success. And I don't know anybody else really that would care or want to care to spend this type of time, especially Friday night, to get to the bottom of something like this. But to me, I have a passion. This is my life. This is my career. This is my lifestyle. I eat, sleep, and breathe rental property and property management. So when things come up that seem murky to me, seem questionable, seem concerning, piques my interest because it affects my business. And it also affects people in my community, the fellow landlord community. So I guess you could say I'm doing this as a community service or as an investigative real estate journalist. I don't know if those exist, but that's what it's felt like. So what the hell am I talking about? I'm talking about this grant, which I'll put up on the screen, that was secured about 6 years ago now for Woonsocket in the amount of $4 million. And it's the Lead Hazard Reduction Program. It's a grant program that is available to landlords who qualify, and homeowners, I believe, as well, to help mitigate lead. And lead is on the top of conversation at the State House, at the Attorney General's office, with landlords in the real estate community. It affects everybody. And most specifically, it affects the wallet, our wallets as landlords. So what's of interest to me here is that this program may be open or it may be closed, but the bottom line is if there's monies available, they should be distributed to landlords because the cost for lead remediation is through the roof. Landlords are losing their homes. They're taking out loans. They're getting lines of credit. They're going to all types of measures to get funding to comply with the state's order. And the AG has been on our elected officials not to loosen up on the legislation like that. So I've seen that. I've been at the State House. I've testified. I've seen the AG's office testify. They don't want to loosen up at all. That's fine. But what my point is, if you're not going to loosen up, we have to comply, and there's money, maybe millions available. Could we get that money? It would help us out. That's my position. And the fact that I don't know if it's available, and I don't think certain people know if it's available, is of concern. So that's why I'm here today to go through and share with you the experience and the road that I've been on. So without further ado, I'm going to get into that, and I'm going to give you screenshots of emails and documentation so you can see that I'm not a kook. I'm not a Looney Tune. I may look like I'm from Texas, but I live in Rhode Island. All right? And I'm going to share with you what I've been going with. So I'm going to pull up my laptop just so I can read and get everything correct. All right, so this all started for me on April 3rd of 2025. I submitted an open records request through the City of Woonsocket's, I believe they call it Next Request web portal, where all types of requests are submitted from the public for information that people want to know. And what I wanted to know was this. Please provide the balance of funds available through the lead remediation grant that the city received from the federal government in the amount of approximately $4 million. I believe, because I heard, this program is handled through the planning department and was received approximately 5 or 6 years ago. And from the article here in the PBN, it's 2019. Furthermore, I said, please provide a breakdown of funds that have been expended thus far. Please break down each grant award with the amount and corresponding property address. Please provide all paperwork necessary to apply for these funds. So, I want to know a few things. I want to know, number one, is this program available? Is it open? I also want to know who's gotten funding to date. Over 6 years, who's received money? And also, what properties did that go to? And finally, if there is money left, if the program is open, please provide all paperwork necessary to apply for these funds. Because I'm a landlord, I got a lot of properties in Woonsocket, I could use some relief. Bad. So, I get a response from the city solicitor, Michael J. Lepizera, Jr. Hi, Greg. I have sent your requests to the appropriate departments. I believe he meant to say your requests. In the meantime, please advise whether you need any information about the lead program. I can direct you to the appropriate personnel. Thank you, Michael J. Lepizera, Jr., city solicitor. So, to date, I have not received information as far as a breakdown of funds, and I also have not received information about the balance left, and I have also not received information about what properties received this money. So, the request is unfulfilled as of May 9th, 2025, and that's over a month. But if you go on the next request portal, the visibility has been changed to unpublished. So it's not visible. And I don't know exactly how this works, but I feel that it still should be published and visible because it's not satisfied. And it's not closed, it's unpublished. So I don't know. That's of note to me. So that's what I started with. And the reason why I started with that is because I anticipated there would be some type of headwinds. You're dealing with government and bureaucracy. You're talking about a lot of money. I imagined there was going to be some noise. And there was noise. So I wanted to preempt this journey by making a formal, legitimate request and also starting a timeline and starting to deal with the appropriate parties, which is the city solicitor, and going from there. So, from there, that was April 3rd. I then received a call on April 9th, 2025, we are in, from the interim planning director, and I believe also the tax assessor, interim, in Woonsocket, John Pagliarini, who let me know that funds were indeed available. This was a phone call. Okay? And that I had to meet with Ryan Leach, who's the senior project manager of federal programs and grants in Woonsocket, at City Hall to go over what the process would require. And if my properties were even eligible at all, which they may not be eligible, that's fine. I said thank you to John, and that I would await Mr. Leach's correspondence. I documented that phone call with Mr. Pagliarini with the below email on April 9th, and we'll put that up for you here. At 4:21 p.m. on the 9th, I said to John Pagliarini, John, thanks for the holler today. Let me know about next week when I would meet with Mr. Leach. Also, you mentioned there was still some funding left for the program expiring June 30th. That's what he let me know. I would like to request the application for that, as I believe I can get that paperwork turned around fast and give the city plenty of time to work on it and assess it. Thank you, sir. So I documented, and I've done that over the years. Whenever I have a verbal conversation with something of pertinence, I put it into an email. Not for this reason, but to, what did I say? What did he say? That's a habit of mine. So I did not receive any future contact from Mr. Leach or Mr. Paglarini. So I initiated contact again to Mr. Paglarini and added the city solicitor now, Michael J. Lapizera Jr., on April 21st. All right, so this is about 12 days after my phone call with Mr. Paglarini. I got crickets, so I had to reach out again. So what I said is this. We'll put this up for you. Hey, gents, good morning. It's been about a month since I submitted the open records request. I was off there. I think it was 18 days. Felt like a month. And I still do not have that requested information, which I still don't May 9th now. In addition, I received a call from John Paglarini, about 2 weeks ago, advising that I would hear from a gentleman in City Hall who heads up the lead program, Ryan, to have me come in and see if I would qualify for any remaining funds. I have not received that call correspondence to date. There is still plenty of time to get the necessary documentation submitted before the program expires, in my opinion, should I end up qualifying. Also, I have not received a reply about incorrect entity ownership showing up on my properties in the tax history database, which is a totally different issue that the city has not even acknowledged, and I've mentioned it a few times. It has my properties being owned by other entities, and it has me owning other properties in the official tax database in Woonsocket. So it has my LLC owning 300 Main Street, for example. I don't own 300 Main Street. So that's a big issue, but that's secondary. So after sending that email on the 21st, I receive a response on the 22nd. And that seems to be the trend, the day after I get something, after I ask a second time. And I got an email from Mr. Leach, and I put a note here. Mr. Leach mentions reaching out again, but I received no prior email, phone call, text, or traditional mail from him or anyone in his department. And I'm in the business. I know that trick. Hey, I reached out. I didn't hear from you. That's the oldest trick in the book. And I'm not saying that's what happened, but I make a living communicating. So I don't miss things. So Mr. Leach will put his email up. This is a big email. Good morning. Director Paglarini asked me to reach out to you again, in regards to the lead hazard reduction program. At this time, the program is on a pause. But I would be more than willing to speak to you about the program and see if it is something we could get you qualified for once it reopens. Please feel free to reach out at any time. Kind regards, Ryan Leach, Senior Project Manager of Federal Programs and Grants, City of Woonsocket, Department of Planning and Development. Okay? This individual works underneath Mr. Paglarini. And Mr. Paglarini called me and said there's funding available. And above that, Attorney Lapizera also said there's funding available. And to reach out, and we'll get the appropriate personnel, we'll get you the application. And now I'm getting this from the third person. Solicitor says there's money, we'll get you the information. He doesn't say there's money, he says we'll get you the information, which means that the program's open. That's how I'm interpreting it. Then Mr. Paglarini, who's in charge of planning, says, yeah, we'll get you in touch with Ryan. Okay, program closes on the 30th. Great. Then I hear from Ryan, and Ryan says, yeah, we're on a pause. So how could the third person on that ladder be the one that says they're on a pause or knows that they're on a pause, but the other two on that totem pole don't. That's what rose the spidey senses to be like, wait. I could see if it was the other way around. Oh yeah, it's closed. Oh no, it's open. Okay, that's a conservative side of caution. It's closed, but it's the opposite. Yeah, it's open. Yeah, it's open. No, it's closed. Makes me wonder, is the director directing? Isn't that something you would know? Is my thought. So that's kind of what my mind went into when I got that email. And that was a pivotal email. So after this, I became confused because that information from Mr. Leach directly conflicted the information I received from his director. So I sent the following reply on April 22nd. So I sent this one to the solicitor, to the planning director, and to Mr. Leach. I said, thanks, Ryan. This is the first time I'm hearing from you. How did you reach out and when? I'll check back. Maybe I missed it. In any event, this information contradicts what John told me. The disconnect further underscores the need of my original public records request to be satisfied so I can know how these funds were appropriated and if there is a balance remaining. Because the bottom line is, at this point, I'm not even so concerned about applying for the funds. I want to know, where are the funds? Who got the funds? Are there funds? Now I'm like turning into concerned citizen, concerned taxpayer, concerned landlord. How is money being handled in the city that I'm so heavily invested in? It's making me, wait, what? Type of feeling. So I sent that on the 22nd, 9:42 a.m. So after this email, I did not receive a reply from Mr. Leach, Mr. Pagliarini, Attorney Lepizera on that email. So I sent the following email in response on May 3rd. So I waited about 10, 11 days. I've been very patient. I said, hey guys, crickets on this email. Is there someone else or perhaps a state agency I should be reaching out to instead? Because at this point, I'm like, they don't even seem to know what's going on. Maybe it's not their deal. Maybe I should be reaching out to a department somewhere. Maybe, point me in the right direction, guys. I'm not here to bust balls, was my thought process. But you can't ignore me. So I get a response on Sunday morning, which I thought was odd, 8:43 a.m. Do people work at City Hall on Sunday mornings? Maybe he's not at City Hall. It seems like he's at City Hall. From Mr. Pagliarini, and he tags Michael and Michael's other email and me, takes Ryan off it. I think Ryan should be on it. Ryan should know. Ryan seems to know more. Why would we remove Ryan? Greg, respectfully, crickets is not accurate. As Ryan explained 2 weeks ago, the program is suspended and we are not taking applications. When the program reopens, you will be contacted. There is a balance remaining on the current grant that expires June 30th, 2025. But due to a slow reimbursement process, it is unlikely that any new funds will be expended. The 2025-2029 grant is expected to commence on July 1st, 2025. Thanks, John. Okay, there's a lot to unpack there. Number one, crickets is and are. Crickets are plural. Crickets are accurate. Because I waited just under 2 weeks. And then I had to poke. And that's been a trend. A couple weeks, I got to poke. So crickets are very accurate. Secondly, Ryan explained 2 weeks ago the program is suspended. And we're not taking applications. Okay. But you, John, said the program is available. It is open. We'll get you to meet with Ryan. Is how I'm interpreting this. And then there's a balance on the current grant, but due to a slow reimbursement process, it's unlikely that any new funds will be expended. If the program's closed, how is a slow reimbursement process even relevant? There's nothing to disperse. There's nothing to send. How is that even part of the equation? Is what I'm thinking. If it's closed, it's closed. We don't even talk about reimbursement or imbursement or any burstments. There's no bursts. It's closed. So that to me is like, I don't get that. And maybe I'm understanding that incorrectly. But the point there is that the information from the director and the grant department conflicts. So I replied to that email on May 4th, and I have not received a response to date. All right, today's May 9th. And I said to Michael, I'm asking for an outline of how the funds were distributed and how much is left. And I asked that via the records request. I'm also asking for an update on the incorrect entities listed on property parcels, which they don't seem to care about. It's a big deal. That's the scenario with my dealings with the city. So what I decided to do was reach out to the two senators that secured this grant initially. Senator Jack Reed, Senator Sheldon Whitehouse. They were the ones that so graciously and wonderfully secured $4 million big dollars for Woonsocket. That's huge. And they secured that under the prior mayoral administration, Mayor Lisa Baldelli Hunt. So those funds were they clawed that from the Fed and said, here, Woonsocket, clean it up. Spend the money. Give it to the landlords. We're approaching the end of that 6-year period. And apparently there's funds left that the Fed would have to take back, or Woonsocket would send back to the... How do you not spend... I mean, let's be honest, $4 million is not a lot of money when you talk about how many landlords are in the city and how many properties need full paints inside and out. And maybe it's windows. I don't even know what it maybe includes windows. Maybe includes siding. I don't know. You can spend $100,000 on 40 houses and you just spent $4 million. And that's not even making a dent in the city. So to not spend $4 million in 6 years, I could spend $4 million tomorrow if you let me. So running a city and not being able to spend $4 million, I could see if it was $40 million, okay, that's a lot of money, a lot of paperwork, a lot of people gathering this, but $4 million on the scope of how big the population is and how dire the lead paint issue is, it's not a lot of money. So it's even unbelievable and remarkable that there's money even available. But I digress. So what I decided to do was email the senators and essentially plead for help. So what I decided to do was compile all that information that I just gave you and send it to their offices. And I get this reply the next day, which I thought was pretty quick. This is from Erin Arcand. She's the Director of Federal Projects, and she works at the office of U.S. Senator Jack Reed. And her office is in the U.S. Federal Courthouse. I think I reached the top. So she says to me, and she tags Mr. Leach and also George Carvalho, which I believe is Senator Reed's chief of staff. And she says, good afternoon, Mr. Rice. Thank you for reaching out to Senators Reed and Whitehouse regarding your interest in learning more about how to participate in Woonsocket's lead hazard reduction program. I am reconnecting you with Mr. Ryan Leach, copied here. I have spoken with Ryan, and he relayed that he can provide more details on the enrollment process. Thank you both, and have a great weekend. Kind regards, Aaron. So, I was so thrilled to get that response, and I appreciate it. Thank you. But now it adds another question to my mind of, okay, now Aaron says it's open And to go back to Mr. Leach, who said it was closed. So I have city solicitor open, planning director says it's open, Mr. Leach closed, Aaron open, and now I'll go back to Mr. Leach. So I will go back to Mr. Leach, but what happened there? And also, if it was paused, why was it paused? I want to know that. And I think the Attorney General's office would want to know that. Maybe the federal government wants to know that. Maybe they are looking into that and they just didn't tell me that. But lead is such a hot button issue right now. For funds to be on pause is major. Landlords are losing their shirts, they're losing their house, they're losing everything because they can't pay for this. And there's that much money available and it's not being spent and the program's about to expire. We got to send the money back to the government so they can spend it on whatever in Tanzania. No, let's spend it in Woonsocket. Where's the money? How come I've burned almost a month? I could have applied, but there could be contractors at my property. But the inefficiency and the ping pong, bing pong, bing bong, back and forth, and the lack of response and the lack of attention, the lack of care, the lack of interest by the city government is of high concern to me. I get a response from the federal government instantly in the affirmative. It's open. Here's Ryan. He'll tell you how to apply. Bing, bang, boom. City government, I'm waiting over a month to get some clarity. My open records request is still not met. And it's like, what's going on? You guys want to raise taxes. You guys want to get all the money from us. You got to give it to us as well. It's a give and take relationship. Government and citizens, two-way road. Not a one-way road, that's a two-way road. And I think sometimes that's forgotten. I don't forget it. I don't forget it. And that's part of the reason why I'm here. To call attention and to demand accountability for my money. That's my money as a taxpayer. That's your money as a taxpayer. And it seems like City of Woonsocket hanging around like Beetlejuice, hanging around. Nothing. Me hanging around.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Nothing. Me? Just hanging around.
That's what I'm feeling. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm learning. So, in sum, I will update, maybe make a new video, depending on the outcome of where this goes. But I need answers. You need answers. We need answers. And I will continue to press for those answers. And I'm going to send this video to the Attorney General's office so they can get an idea on what's going on. I think they should press the city to answer my records request. I think I am owed that at the very least. And then also, I want to know why the program was paused, or why Mr. Leach said it was paused, and why that disconnect existed. We're not talking about $4, $40, $400, $4,000, $400. We're talking about $4 million. And they don't know what's going on. Makes me feel really good about how my $4,000 taxes are being spent for my property. Or now they're $8,000 because they're going up. It makes me wonder about the financial management. Is there fraud in this issue? Is there waste? Is there abuse? Is there mismanagement? I want to know. You want to know. You should want to know. And answering that public records request will shed light on some of that. Who got the money? Oh, how come this guy got all the money? Oh wait, this guy knows that guy. I don't know. Maybe. I'm speculating. Oh wow, there's 3.9 million. You only gave away $100,000? Right? How come you didn't spend it? Was there lazy? Like, what was going on? So, again, long video. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you hanging in there, but it's an important thing. And I think that it deserves light and it deserves attention. And in the future, maybe this video will have a positive impact and prevent disconnections and just slop like this from happening again. Because if you're going to stick it to us, right? Like I said, lead paint needs to be abated. If you're going to stick it to us, then we have the right to demand information and funds like this. That's how it goes. Like I said, two-way street. So, all right, I rest my case. Thank you all for listening, and check out the video of me and former Mayor Lisa Baldelli Hunt. We go to the Woonsocket homeless encampment. All right, there's a village of about 50 people along the river on Privilege Street, and we went and talked to these individuals. And again, $4 million, open, it's closed, homeless encampment, people, needles, sex, guns, bullets, all that stuff. What's going on in Woonsocket is how I'm starting to feel, right? Oh, but you raised my taxes again? Oh yeah, the church is assessed at $5 million when it's partially under construction. Something's going on. But again, I have the time, I have the interest, I have the passion, so I'm not going anywhere. All right, I'm just going to continue to uncover information, continue to bring things to light in a professional and educational way. And that's the purpose. I think that's my purpose in life, is to be involved in a community way, in a positive way. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. A sober guy, healthy guy, handsome guy, I might add. And again, it's Friday night, and this is how I like to spend my time. So I appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, you know how to reach out to me. And yeah, that's all I got to say. Once again, Greg Rice from Nexus Property Management. Your property and your lead grant may be managed.